well, the first thing I noticed when they was stepping out here is there's some sawdust forming in the corner of my fence, and I don't know exactly what it was or how it started, but I thought it was termites at first, but then I cleared it out, and then a few weeks later it came right back. And these are treated fence. I treated them with the stain, but apparently that does not discourage carpenter bees for whatever reason. So I had to research, and I was fortunate to find some carpenter bee traps on YouTube, and I'll show you where they really wreaked havoc. They actually bored on the inside of this wood post right here, the fence post, and they like to find places with shelter, especially back here underneath here. They love doing that. You can see where I patched up with wood filler where they bored. Alright, these are the materials. Pretty simple. All it is just a fence post and a fence picket. The post is like maybe $8. Picket's probably $2. Got it at Home Depot. You can usually request them. I had them request them to cut the posts. It was so much bigger. I used a skill saw for the smaller one. They're 4-inch sections. This is for the 4x4 post, and this is for the picket, 8-inch sections. We're gonna have about a 2-inch overhang on 3 sides. One side is gonna be butt up next flush to whatever surface that it's going to be hanging on. Alright, so what we got here is a copper pipe tube cap. I could have got a full copper pipe, but I didn't really need to buy a full stick, as they can be a little bit pricey. It's about $1.20 for that cap. Dremel grinding stone to sharpen the end of the cap. What we're going to be using it is to knock a 3/4 inch hole through the bottom of this lid right here, and it'll be on the end of the jar. Alright, now that I've sharpened this, it has a pretty good sharp edge here. We'll go ahead and hammer 3/4 inch with this mallet here. I'm using the cinder blocks as a brace for these blocks of wood while I'm drilling through them. Ideally, you'd have a drill press in this situation, but unfortunately, all I had was a drill. These blocks of wood, they were damp when I bought them about a week ago. I left them inside in the air conditioning, and they're still somewhat damp. You want to have enough time to let them dry, and it seems it's going to take more than a week to let them dry, so I'm going to go ahead and postpone this till next week. And actually drill this base hole a little bit more than 3/4 inch to about a 7/8 inch. This final bit here, just enough for these bees to fall through rather than crawl down. You're gonna want more of a drop for these bees to go into the trap, which would be these jars right here. We got to finally knock these out with the copper pipe tube cap, and it was kind of tricky at first. You need to sharpen it after each one that you knock through, because it'll get dull. You can kind of see what kind of damage I did right here. On some of them, you really had to nail them pretty hard, but luckily with enough brute force, you can get it no problem. It's been about a week, and the blocks are much drier. You can see some of the sawdust here, it's not really clumping together as much as it was earlier. There is some sort of oil that they use and can compress these blocks together. So what we're going to do is drill a hole. You can do it on 4 sides if you want. I'm just going to do it in 3 and have one side flush against whatever surface it's on. And you're going to probably go about 1 inch up, and you want to go at a 45-degree angle up, because that's the way these bees like to go into these traps. Now, if you happen to have a compressed air attachment, it may help to blow out some of these cuts that aren't so smooth. Some of these kind of cut at an angle. Sometimes it left so you can see right here, it's a little bit rigid, so you want to kind of clear a pathway a little bit. I went ahead and drilled my pilot holes for the screws that are going to hold these up on the back side right here. But before I do that, I attached the base right here with 2 different nails. And you're going to want them to nail them catty corner here and make sure they don't run into the line that you drilled on the side. And here is the completed project. Got them all done. I just used a little bit of twine wire on top, wrapped around a few times, and it is ready to hang. We'll just see how well these work. Alright, so what happened was I saw I've waited a couple months. I put these carpenter bee traps out and it hasn't caught anything, but there's been no bees flying around either. Here we are, the last part of August, and I saw a carpenter bee reopen one of the spots that had closed up underneath the shed. So what I'm going to do is, it's possible, I did see some activity at the bottom of one of these. It looks like one may have crawled in, but actually crawled back out. So what I needed to do was create a way to where they can't fly back up into the hole. So what you can do is cut you the bottom of a 2 liter or whatever it is soda that you're drinking, and you can cut slits in the side, and you may have to use one of these razors here and just kind of hammer it down. And you can see it kind of just make my way and cut through one of those. What I'm going to do is put a drop of honey at the bottom of one of these. Hopefully there'll be some, I'm not exactly sure if there's pheromones in honey that'll attract the bees. If I find a dead bee somewhere, I can throw it in there on the ground somewhere. That could possibly attract some bees too. That's kind of my last-ditch effort to get this thing working. But hey, if you're trying to stop soda like me and you're looking for an excuse to drink Dr. Pepper, this is your homework here. So be all about it, and we'll see what happens. So here's the results that it actually works. Once you catch your first one, you should be able to catch plenty more. But since we're in the last part of the fall, I don't expect any more to be coming around until spring. But yeah, it was definitely worth the effort.